just slowly, gently falling into a place where you can choose the way that you want to feel. It may not be easy to feel that way, but you can do it. So in this way, wherever you choose to stop moving, whatever you decide to be your center, it's the place where you feel capable of processing the stress that comes along with sitting there. You understand that even getting a massage comes with stress. And this way you'll see that all things, all senses, are two things. They're all based in duality. All things have a good and a bad, a dark and a light, an up and a down. It's never this or that. It's always this and that. It's always the inclusiveness. This inclusiveness is described as positive energy. And it really is just like a battery with a positive and a negative side. Negative isn't bad. Positive isn't good. It's just called positive. It's like addition. It's adding on to. But addition is in no means more virtuous than subtraction. Just different forces. The negative energy, subtraction, that's exhale. It's release. It's not bad. You'll see that this is a very deep, subconscious reaction that we have to the terms positive and negative. Because in this paradigm of duality, the negative energy is the yin energy, which represents subtraction, death. The positive energy, the yang energy, represents life, exertion, growth, blossoming. But the issue is that the positive energy comes along with stress and tension and pressure like electricity. So therefore, growth and life in general is naturally stressful. And the negative energy, the yin energy, death, is inherently relieving and relaxing. And it's a very big issue that we have in our subconscious mind where we fear the relaxation because it reminds us of negative energy, which to the most extreme degree is death. And so in this form of duality, it's important to understand that everything is on a spectrum. Like a scale of 1 to 10 if you could visualize it in your mind. Like a tape measure, there's individual markers that represent 2 and 3 and 4 and so on up to 10. 1 and 10, they represent the extremes of duality. 1 being death, 10 being life. But there's a whole range in between of complexity. And your day-to-day, it exists somewhere in that space between life and death. And we call it colloquially life. I'm alive. But it's really a disservice to the word. Life is creation. Life is that spark, an explosion. It's absolutely intense and overwhelming. This way, you can just kind of redefine the words life and death for yourself now, to include the space between that we colloquially call life, but shouldn't any longer. It's something in the middle, where sometimes we're tired and sometimes we're excited. Sometimes we have to sleep and sometimes we want to go for a run. This space between is always understood as the mind. In this way, I'll just clarify for you that you and I and nobody has any clue what the mind is. Just like we have no clue what consciousness is. We know what the body is, more or less. But what the mind is, we're not sure. A lot of different theories. It doesn't really matter what the mind is, because what the mind is the space between. The spectrum. The mind is where you experience your quote-unquote life. The mind in the body. In this way, we'll just ground in the three-part system of the self, as yoga describes. There is a body, there is a mind, and there is a spirit or a soul or an energy or a consciousness, whatever you want to call it. A body, a mind, and some indescribable energetic source that animates us. It gives us inspiration and ideas, desires. It's always egging us along further and further. To the body, it feels like a carrot and stick technique, where the body can never quite catch up. Always reaching further and further for this energy source that gives it life. And in this model, you never get to fully experience life. And also, you're afraid of death. Which means that you are residing to only experience your life in that space between, in the mind. In essence, the matrix, or your prison that you designed for yourself, always bound inwards. Because the experience of expanding outwards through positive energy is stressful, and the experience of sinking down deeper into negative energy reminds you of death and loss. And this makes you feel stuck, and the mind despises that feeling. Therefore, meditation comes along and offers a different perspective, which you can't truly understand with the mind, because the mind is the space between things. The mind exists in duality. Like, you can't ever know what your consciousness is because it's outside of the mind. You can't ever know what God is or your creator is because it's outside of the mind. The mind can only know things inside of the mind, which is why the mind can be lustful and ravenous to learn more, take more, experience more, in effort to know itself more. Meditation is the experience that the mind has when it no longer desires to add or subtract anymore. It doesn't need positive energy or negative energy. The mind is still, and it does not despise it. Meditation takes practice because the mind has spent decades accumulating more and more and more and more. You can't just turn that off overnight. But what I'd like to share with you is a little encouragement that if you can turn off the vacuum of your mind, always taking more, even for just a second, that's 1 second of meditation. And 1 second is better than no seconds. And 1 second obviously leads to 2 seconds, and 4 and 8 and so on. And if you can string together an arrangement, a sequence of small segments of meditation, then you can hop from each meditative moment to the next meditative moment and onward. Until without great effort, you just naturally develop the ability to be, to stay, to allow where you are to persist. And the most beautiful thing happens when you do this. You'll find that when you stop exerting your yang energy, your positive energy, you don't die. You become a creator. You find that you are always connected with that yin energy that we call death, but is just a different form of energy. That is your life source, like your tether. It is unconditional, always and forever. It cannot be cut. However, it can feel like it has been cut. This tether, this yin energy tether that you call death, is in fact your source of life. And it makes so much sense because yin yang is a duality, so obviously the death is connected to life. And you can understand this in the way that your yang exertion of positive energy, your life energy, eventually leads to death, hopefully in old age. This is the way of things. When you release the fear of relaxation, you're met with the energy that creates worlds and sustains them. We're going to spend a little bit of time listening. All the sounds, the music, the vibrations, the heater, outside noise. And I want you to practice letting these sounds be enough stimulus to satisfy your mind. Now find the sound of your breath. And practice allowing that to be enough to satisfy you. from this state of reception, where you're allowing everything to exist, you are no longer participating with the positive energy accumulation of experience. However, you are receiving the energy that it gives off. Consider the idea of being successful financially without exerting effort. You're just being you, and everybody loves you, and they're paying you money to be you. People just pay you money to listen to your breath. In every breath you take where you are feeling the positive energy, you exhale and release out all of the stuff that comes along with it. Like a filter, like a process. You're taking, receiving the positive energy, but you're releasing, subtracting the imagery and the beliefs that go along with the positive energy, such as actions have consequences, it takes time to get places, it requires effort to be successful. That's out with the breath. But the general sensation of feeling the sun on your skin, that stays. Because meditation is not in the mind. You're not bound to the mind, which means you are not subject to the limiting paradigm of duality, which is the mind. There's more to you than your mind. So in this way, we'll practice just for a moment, using our inhale to extract sensation, and using our exhale to express our satisfaction. Inhale in that electricity, tension, the stress of being alive, and exhale out the sweet relief of not being stuck in the matrix of your mind. Now, the trick is that if you think about it, then you're right back in the mind. But if you just feel about it, now you're in the body. Derive all the benefit, release all obligation to suffer for it. We're going to take on a different paradigm, if you will, from this place where we are connected with the yin energy, the spark of life, the source of creation. We're no longer afraid of it because we understand it's not just death. We're going to create a new mind. And we call this mind the higher mind, the higher self, the soul, whatever you want to call it. But I just want to ground you in the clarity that if you use your current physical mind to do this, then you will be bound by what the current physical mind thinks is possible of a new mind. It's a very tricky practice. You're trying not to try, and in your not trying, you feel better. You're more honest. You're more authentic. You can't fake it. There's nobody to fake but you. And in this state where you simply appreciate the sound of your breath, you feel good in your body. You're going to take a bird's eye view. Zoom out. Imagine as if the ceiling above us was hundreds of feet in the air, and you're zooming out. You could see your physical body sitting right here in the studio from way up high. You could see outside on the street, you could see down the street, you could see the whole neighborhood. You understand, it's a creativity. You can't think this, you have to be creative about it. And then if you're more creative, you could zoom out so far that you see all of New York City, and also you still see your body here in the studio. You see all of New York State, or the whole eastern side of the country. You see there's no end to it. I could ask you to zoom out to the Earth, solar system, galaxy, universe. There's no end. But just don't lose yourself. See yourself still, no matter how far you zoom out. This is a practice of satisfaction. When will you be satisfied with your expanded awareness? When will it be enough for you to zoom out? No judgment, just an honest exploration of curiosity. What do you need to feel satisfied, truly? Can you still find it in your breath? Can you still hear the sound of satisfaction in your breath? We're not stuck with one perspective. We're multifaceted in meditation. You can zoom out and also feel like you're in your body. You can be connected to the sound of your breath, visualizing yourself from a bird's eye view. You're not this or that. You are this and that. In this way, the word "and" is a connector. A conduit. A channel. A portal. Whatever word works for you. You play along with this and that for enough time that you'll get to the point where it's not this and that anymore, but it is all that is. All that is. All of the things. Everything you've ever known or smelled or tasted or touched, every memory stored away in your body, every idea, every thought, every possibility, every outcome, every potentiality. It's all there. Can you still feel satisfied in your breath? From all the potential possibilities, from all the unlimited pathways, you choose you. You choose your body, this life, this experience, this idea, this personality. It's an expression of you. Not so different from the clothes that you chose to wear today. Later, you'll change your clothes. When you go to a fancy black tie event, you'll dress appropriately. You will always be in the right place at the right time, wearing the right outfit, expressing yourself in the right way. Because you're no longer stuck in your mind. You see the bigger picture. It's clear from up here. It would be as if you could imagine our bodies in cartoon fashion, where we have very long necks, very, very long necks, and we can poke our heads out above the clouds, but our body is still walking down on the earth. Where we see this and that and all that is, all at once. At least from our perspective, that is. Because there's no way that we could ever conceptualize all that is. That's not realistic. So you come to the clarity now that what you consider to be all that is just your all that is. Because you cannot define it, you cannot own it, you cannot claim it, you cannot have it, you cannot be bigger than it, you cannot conceptualize it in its entirety. But it doesn't mean you can't give it a name that means something to you. We've got lots of different names for it around the world. The Tao, Yin, path of least resistance, flow, allowance, the path, meditation. It's all different words to describe the same thing. You'll find it doesn't require you to exert any effort to derive benefit from this practice. In fact, the more effort you exert, the less benefit you get. Because this is for the mind. This way you can understand the body is already perfect. Your spirit, your soul, your consciousness is already perfect. The only thing that can change is the space between, the mind. We can make the distance greater, shorter. We can move through it faster or slower. There could be things that we fear along the path, or things that make us smile. We could go up and down and left and right and back and forth of all the three dimensions that exist in our three-dimensional mind. Until you come to the clarity that the mind has access to 4 dimensions, not just 3. The 4th dimension is the experience of time. How long you expect the journey to take between here and there. Time in this way is eternal, ever present. It is unconditional, which means that you can experience it however you want. You can make the time shorter or faster. You can suffer through the experience of it, or you could relish in it. In this way, time is a projection of the mind. And this doesn't mean to say that time doesn't exist independently of us. Simply that in our experience, time is personal. If you think you're always late, you will always be late. If you feel hurried, you will be hurried. When you are relaxed, you will be relaxed. Just like you cannot conceptualize all that is, but rather you conceptualize your version of all that is, same with time. You do not control all of time. You control the way that you experience time. This is a power that you get when you start to link together moments of meditation. Because you're no longer bound by the mind and its limitations. You see things from a different perspective. It's not just peeking behind the curtain, so to speak. It's spending a significant amount of time behind the curtain, exploring, asking questions, figuring out how things work. In order to get back there behind the curtain to see the way that things work, you need a key. The key is meditation. I'll remind you that meditation can last for a single second. It doesn't make it less meditation. Whether you hold 1 grain of rice in your hand or 10,000, you are still holding rice. I want to give you the gift now of internalizing this key so that you always know where it is, so that you always have access to it when you are trying to open up a door. It is in the sound of your breath and the satisfaction that you feel in response to it. from this simple state of satisfaction. You stay with the body while you use your creativity to soar above the clouds. It's the feeling of never-ending expansion with the grounding of comfort and relief. It's a dream that you create on purpose. And with enough practice, you learn how to dream with your eyes open, walking around, talking to people, going to work. This is living the dream. And if you just try to go from where you are to living the dream, you'll likely fail. You have to find your key. You have to open the door. You have to navigate the space between where you are and that feeling. Sometimes you can do that whole process in 20 seconds. Sometimes it takes you 20 years. But I'll remind you that you are in control of your experience of time. And that if you believe it's going to take you 20 years, then it will. Because time is unconditional. It doesn't necessarily care about you. It's not that it doesn't care about you, it just doesn't care. It's indifferent. It's up to you to wield it. Otherwise, you will be ground down by time, experienced by gravity. Now, this is going to happen to all of us anyway as we grow old. But how you live between right now and that future date, which we do not know when will come, you are in control over the experience that you have in your life. Understanding this information in your body is called knowledge. And your knowledge is not my knowledge. Your knowledge is just for you. It most likely will not be helpful for anybody else besides you. This is the difference between knowledge and understanding. Understanding is unconditional. It is universal. And everybody has to find their own relationship to it. Understanding is in relationship with wisdom. Together, wisdom and understanding form the building blocks of life. being able to experience your life without the emotional response of negativity is called wisdom. Being able to experience your life with the emotional response of negativity is called understanding. And you need both to have knowledge. Knowledge is downloaded into the mind. But wisdom and understanding are outside of the mind. They're part of that new creation that we're making. The new mind, the higher mind. There's an and in between the lower mind and the higher mind. Conduit, a portal, passageway, connection. The space between your lower mind that perceives your truth of physical reality and your higher mind which conceives of new information. That is your experience of your total mind, your whole mind, your integrated mind in your body. This is all that is for you. Allowing your all that is to be enough for you is beautiful, harmonious. It's all that needs to be for your perfect life. There is no thing that we could accumulate which will make it any better. And so you can continue along your life, which is the experience of accumulating more, in complete contentment of knowing that you're good. You're perfect, beautiful and whole, just as you are. And from your perfection, you will choose to adopt, if you will, more things. Add them into your beauty, your wholeness. Out of service. You don't need to. You're just fine the way that you are. You're so good that you want to start to give now. You want to share your perfection, your beauty, your harmony with everything else and everyone else. The trick to this part of the practice is that you cannot be proactive about it. You cannot go and shove it down someone's throat. Feel my harmony. Instead, in your perfection, in your grace, you go about your life. You interact with all types of people. You do all types of things. And you continue to choose you instead of those other things. You share your perfection with your life. And you never run out of energy because you can always recharge through meditation. You always have access to that spark of life, that yin energy, because you don't fear it. You're always in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, because you are perfect right where you are. It would be as if you had unlimited, unconditional amounts of money. And everywhere you went, you just showered people with money, with zero fear that you would ever run out. You just gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. And there is no scenario in which somebody who needed money could come to you and not get what they needed from you, because you just give it. Because you are always intimately connected with the source that gives you more. You never run out because you're always refilling. You never give more than what you have because you know what you have. You never put yourself into a compromising situation because you would never compromise your perfection that you have worked so hard to create. And once you have perfected this technique, which could take you 20 minutes or 20 years, you just go about your life. You do the dishes, do the laundry, you make dinner, you tell your loved ones that you love them. And there's nothing more to it than that. with bigger, deeper breath now. You're going to do your very best to stay in this state of mind while you begin to open up your eyes and look around the room a little bit, here and there and up and down and left and right. The struggle is to hold on to this mindset of expansion, unconditionality, while you observe conditions and limitations. How is it that you can look at one thing and understand that it is more than what you see? This is how we do the meditation with our eyes open. There is always invisible energy. It's in every person, everything, every experience. There is more than you can see. And when you can feel more than you can see, then you are still meditating in your body.